Thrice. Dun 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 dun. Hey, I remember you. How are you? Hello. Today we are going to go over the very basics of portrait photography as well as the most common lighting setup ever known when shooting an interview. Well, it's pretty much what you see right now. Do you need to know this? Obviously no. In today's world, you cannot know a damn thing, do not understand anything, and still feel good about yourself. Believe me, that's so true right now. But will this information help you to not make serious mistakes, to feel more confident, and as a result, achieve better results? I bet you will. Thus, strike it! What are the different types of lighting setups used in studios? Well, for starters, I wouldn't recommend to get too attached to lighting setups and diagrams, especially within studio space. Variety is utterly limited and usually it's just boring, because usually for the most part of it is just front light, fill light, and backlight. By the way, we could play with the backlight right now. How do you like it? More glowy or less glowy? Let's split the difference. So yeah, you could call it backlight, top light, hair light, even a little bit of a rim light, but it's all the same. Well, probably a rim light is quite a different animal, but let's just shrink back to a bloody classic 3-point light, 3-point studio lighting. It's almost a bare minimum. Also, don't forget that background will need something as well. Is it a mandatory? Well, obviously nothing is. Look, rules are for weak. Go by the logic. But you still must know them, because as there's nothing worse than a person who breaks a rule they don't even know. On a serious note though, the one who understands the purpose of their actions will grasp the infinity of options to achieve the goal. And by the way, there is nothing bad in pausing whatever is going on and giving it one more thought. Measure thrice, check twice, and cut once. Are you familiar with that? Now let's break the classic setup down onto its component parts. Well, first of all, the front light is the key. Usually it's the brightest in the scene. Well, okay, yeah, it's not always. Sometimes it's even the dimmest one. All other lights are measured with respect to it. That is always true whenever it's the brightest or not. And since this fixture will be shining right into the actor's face, make it soft, because you definitely don't want to blind them, at least not during your watch. And next, the larger the source, the better, because smooth, creamy, wrapping light, it all means the same thing. Bigger surface emitting light. And for God's sake, don't put it too frontal. It's not a podcast. All the shapes will be completely washed out. Place it, say, at 2 o'clock. That'll be quite enough. Next, fill light. It's used to control shadows. 10 points to those of you who know of negative fill. Yep, smartass. It's achieved with black bulbs you saw in Home Depot, dying from curiosity. What the hell are they for? Yes, to suck out the excessive illumination, just like black holes. Kidding, just take it for granted, never believe for what I say first. It's so-called blacklight bulbs. Black Street Magic. They emit ultraviolet light, the very top of Kelvin spectrum, and it's almost transparent, slightly purple-ish, but it bounces from all white surfaces, making them kind of glowy. Back to the lesson. When instead of adding light, you want to drop it as much as possible, you move a large black flag or a V flag, depending where you're from, commercials or film industry, as close to the object as it's even possible. Maybe I'll explain the physics of negative field in more detail later on, but for now, just believe my word, it's magic and it works. Also, instead of a separate fixture, put in a separate fixture for the field light, you could just use a whiteboard instead, like a V-flat or a white card, bounce board, again, depending where you're from, because in Los Angeles they usually call it bounce boards. Here in New York, sometimes they call it white cards. This way, existing in the room light will be redirected back to the model. Want it harsher? Just use a silver surface, but I wouldn't recommend that, because in this case both sides will be even and you'll lose the key. This way you'll lose the purpose of the key, the point of the key, and don't you want to lose the purpose of the key? And finally, the backlight. You need it to visually pull the model away from the background. In most cases, it comes down to a simple hair light, and it's quite enough, just like so. Is it all? Is it all that you have to know? No, because there's way more than that. There are kickers, modeling light, accent light, eye light, rim light, high key, low key, silhouette, whatever you want to call it, light. Do you need all that? Again, no. Can you shoot with just one strobe or even go all natural? Absolutely. Everyone does it. And the understanding of beauty and finesse is very subjective, and everyone has their own. Research, experiment, be curious, follow professional groups and professional communities, and go to sleep before midnight, and you'll find your own style sooner or later. And will it be unique? Bad news again here. 99% that no, because unfortunately everything has already been invented. But it's gonna be good and professional enough to get you constantly growing. Guess today my job is done here. Until we meet again.